Kazakhstan has found an effective way to connect East and West, land and sea. Of course, one of our key indicators is the growth in transit transportation volume. What is the contribution of road, rail, sea and air transportation to the country's economy? If you notice, over the last 20 years, Kazakhstan has organized its domestic railway networks in such a way that they no longer extend to neighboring countries. In the future, the demand for the oil and gas resources that we're currently offering to the world may not be as high. At that time, how competitive will Kazakhstan's transport and logistics sector be? The term Global Logistics Map has not been in use for a long time. It is like a strategic document of the present time. It encompasses the country's transit and logistics potential, as well as concepts related to the quality of transport routes, railways, and all types of services provided. In the era of economic integration, the importance of trade and exchange of goods between countries is growing. In global practice, there are countries that generate substantial income for their treasury by connecting continents and facilitating the transportation of goods and passengers. Kazakhstan is also focusing on this sector, making every effort to turn it into a key driver of its economy.
Қазір әлемде жаңа экономикалық кеңістік қалыптасып жатыр.
A new economic space is currently emerging in the world. The volume of goods shipped from China to Europe, Russia, Central Asia and back to China is expected to increase significantly. Kazakhstan is located at a global crossroads, connecting the north and south, as well as the west and east. This presents a great opportunity for our country. Therefore, the transport and logistics sector must become one of the main drivers of our economy.
Экономикамызды алға бастайтын басты күштің біріне айналуға тиіс.
Currently, 13 international transport corridors pass through Kazakhstan's territory. 5 of them are railways and 8 are highways. The delivery time for goods from Asia to Europe has significantly decreased through these corridors. For example, the transit delivery time for cargo across Kazakhstan's territory has reduced from 12 days to 5 days. This is twice as fast compared to sea transport. As a result, the demand for cargo transportation through Kazakhstan's transit corridors is growing. The geographical location of our country, situated at the crossroads of 9 major routes connecting the east and west, as well as the north and south, demonstrate a significant transit potential. Overall, by the end of 2024, the key economic and production indicators in the transport sector showed positive results. Of course, one of our key indicators is the growth in transit transportation volume. According to last year's results, the volume of transit transportation amounted to 34,600,000 tons, with 27,500,000 tons transported by rail and 7,100,000 tons by road. The growth rate was 7%. To redirect international freight flows toward our country, the first and foremost requirement is adequate infrastructure. In the transport and transit sector, the foundation of infrastructure is high-quality roads. Across Kazakhstan, there are a total of 95,000 kilometers of roads. Of these, 25,000 kilometers are of national significance, while the remaining 70,000 kilometers are local roads. If we take a closer look at the regulatory standards of these roads, by the end of 2024, the compliance rate for local roads increased from 87% to 89%, while the compliance rate for roads of national significance has now reached 93%. Roads in Kazakhstan are categorized into 5 classes. The first category includes high-intensity routes connecting major agglomerations, our large capitals and regional centers. These are also the main roads of national and international importance. The second category roads typically have a 9-meter wide asphalt surface. These roads also connect regional centers and are constructed to meet international road standards. Last year, 12,000 kilometers of roads were repaired across the country. Among them were major transit routes such as Karaganda-Almaty, Aktobe-Kandy-Agash, Atyrau-Astrakhan, and Taldykorgan-Oskimen, large-scale projects that have been completed and put into use. Such extensive work has never been done in Kazakhstan before. However, quality is more important than quantity. The widespread adoption of modern methods and technologies to monitor the quality of new roads remains a pressing issue. A major digital platform called e-Joldar is currently being developed in the road sector. The main goal of this platform is to consolidate all information related to road infrastructure into a unified database. One of its key features is public monitoring. Any citizen can access the platform to see what kind of work is being done on which road, the condition and category of the road, who the contractor is, and what issues are being encountered. All of this will be available in real time. In addition, we're now integrating artificial intelligence into the road sector, particularly in road quality control. In total, the state plans to repair more than 4,000 kilometers of roads included in international routes by 2029. To ensure the proper level of international and domestic freight flow, the modernization of international corridors is also a priority. Here, it is worth mentioning the Trans-Caspian international transport route. The Chinese economy will continue to develop at this pace. They need new markets, and the European Union needs markets to sell their goods and receive raw materials. For this reason, at the Samarkand summit, for example, the European Union expressed its intention to allocate 12 billion euros for the Middle Corridor project and has made such a decision. This funding is directed not to a single country, but to an entire system as a whole. And if you observe, when Kazakhstan consistently pushes forward the Middle Corridor project, it takes into account the Central Asian countries and Azerbaijan, considering the region as a whole. This is because it is better for all the countries in the region to develop in a somewhat similar way. If one is too poor and another too rich, it creates obstacles for certain projects. Therefore, we view this comprehensively. The capacity of this corridor is 6 million tons. Last year's figure was 4.5 million tons. One of the key factors in developing the corridor is working synchronously with neighboring countries, because even though we're investing significant funds to develop this infrastructure, if Azerbaijan and Georgia do not have corresponding infrastructure, our cargo volume will not increase. Therefore, the three of us, these three countries, need to work together on the development of this corridor. According to World Bank projections, by 2030, the volume of cargo transported along the Middle Corridor via the Caspian Sea is expected to triple, reaching 11 million tons, with around 4 million tons carried in containers. Most of this transit traffic moves along the route as part of trade between Europe and Kazakhstan, as well as between Europe and China. The growing potential of the Middle Corridor is driven not only by road infrastructure, but also by the increasing role of railway networks. As you can see, over the last 20 years, Kazakhstan has organized its domestic railway networks in such a way that they no longer extend to neighboring countries. Previously, we used to go through the northern country to enter and pass through from one region to another, for example, from Kostanay to Aktobe. Now everything has been organized, and we connect through domestic routes. Similarly, we have also structured the railways from east to west, creating several routes that play a decisive role in cargo transportation. When discussing Kazakhstan's transport and logistics potential, we cannot overlook the ports on the Caspian Sea that connect railways and sea routes. The ports of Aktau and Kuryk on the country's territory are not only centers for trade, but are also becoming unique infrastructures that enhance the country's transit potential.
Aktau and Kuryk portları Qazaqstanның жаңағы батыс
The ports of Aktau and Kuryk are referred to as Kazakhstan's western gateways. For this reason, they are considered as routes towards Europe. In turn, the ports are designed to handle all types of cargo. Both railways and highways are fully connected to the ports. Each district, as well as the ports of Baku and Alat, has the capability to transport goods to Turkey and any country in Europe. In general, Kazakhstan has 13 international corridors passing through its territory, 2 of which go through these ports.
Халықаралық дәліз өтеді десек, соның екеуі жаңағы порттар арқылы өтеді.
These ports facilitate transit transportation via the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, Georgia and Turkey. The Kuryk port accelerates cargo turnover through its ferry complex and plays an important role in the multimodal transport chain. The Aktau port, as Kazakhstan's first and largest point of entry into international maritime trade, is considered a strategic link in the middle corridor.
Осы жылы Ақтау портында контейнерлік қап іске қосылады. Ол жаңағы қосымша 100,000 контейнер тасымалдауға мүмкіндік береді.
This year, a container hub will be launched at the port of Aktau. It will enable the transportation of an additional 100,000 containers. In addition, due to the shallowness of the Caspian Sea, dredging works will be carried out to deepen the port's water area. Moreover, cargo handling equipment is being upgraded. Within the framework of these works, an important role is assigned to the Kuryk port. Until now, the Kuryk port has been considered primarily a ferry complex, but in the future, like Aktau, it will be focused on transporting all types of cargo. In total, the volume of investments in the maritime infrastructure will exceed 300 billion tenge. We expect that all of these will be implemented with the involvement of investors. Experts say that the potential of air transport, along with land routes and sea transport, is also significantly high in the transport and logistics sector. I think special attention should also be given to the issue of utilizing airspace. For example, we have several capable airports, but it would be beneficial if air hubs were more advanced. Almaty, for instance, is developing, but there are times when weather conditions make it inconvenient for flights. Therefore, I believe that the relevant authorities overseeing the transport sector are thoroughly analyzing and taking all these factors into account. Moreover, all these projects will directly benefit our citizens.
Over
the past 3 years, the number of foreign airlines operating flights through the Republic of Kazakhstan has almost tripled. We're now seeing carriers from Europe, China and CIS countries, with Kazakhstan positioning itself as a transit hub and creating favorable conditions for the development of transit potential. This growth is taking place not only in major airports like Almaty and Astana, but also in regional airports. For instance, Karaganda Airport has received serious interest from Western carriers. In addition, southern Kazakhstan is actively integrating into these global international processes.
Также юг Казахстана подключается очень активно к этим международным глобальным процессам.
It is often said that in the future, the transport and logistics sector will become a key source of income, potentially replacing raw materials in the economy. Indeed, if the futuristic projects that are actively being discussed today are brought to life, there is no doubt that this sector will outpace all others by far. In my opinion, in the future, the global demand for oil and gas, the raw resources we currently offer to the world, may no longer be as high. However, I believe the importance of the logistics sector will grow significantly in the coming years. For example, even now, we're seeing futuristic ideas like Elon Musk's underground metro systems in the US, designed to operate without traffic congestion. In addition, major philanthropists in America are proposing ambitious projects to connect England and Europe via undersea infrastructure. From this perspective, I believe the Great Silk Road will be revived in a new, modern format through robotic, high-speed transport systems such as ultra-fast metros. I think this is how the Silk Road will come back to life in the future. Kazakhstan cannot tackle all the major tasks in the transport and logistics sector on its own. In this regard, support from neighboring and partner countries is crucial. They too are interested in the development of international transport corridors. These include, first and foremost, the countries of Central Asia, Russia, China and Europe. Our region is home to landlocked countries that do not have direct access to international oceans. For such nations, having a well-developed transport infrastructure is considered a key factor in economic growth. That's why the development of Kazakhstan's transport and logistics sector is not only crucial for our own country, but also has a significant multiplier effect for our neighboring states and all the countries in the Central Asian region as a whole. Overall, Kazakhstan has set ambitious goals for the development and transformation of its transport and logistics sector. As the president of the country stated, increasing the transport and logistics share in the GDP to 9% is no easy task. Nevertheless, Kazakhstan must strengthen its role as a key transit hub on the Eurasian continent. The plan is clear, the goal is well defined. The rest will be determined by time and action.